Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, shalom.
Shalom.
It's your brother, Great Muslim Charlotte. Come with another quick lesson to the spirit and power of Yahawashi Yahawashi. First and foremost, we want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'asham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahawashi,
Yahushua,
Ba'asham,
Hashem,
Kadash.
Hashadash.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles who wear millstone, who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, so tonight's lesson, man, as you can see, brothers are going into right that we're watching things unfold on a domestic level that are affecting geopolitics, right, worldwide. As far as these tariffs that are going through with Trump, right, the back and forth between him and these other nations, the potential uh, bombings and things of that nature in the Middle East, right? But we're seeing the downfall of this American system, which inspires the title of the lesson, Banking on Prophecy, Investing in Yahweh Shai, right? Because our hope is in the destruction of this place, man. Right? That's where we put all our chips. We pushed all our chips into the table of prophecy, and we're investing everything in the coming of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai, man. You know? So we're putting all our time the same way. We see this the the fluctuations in the market right now, right, in regards to the Dow and the Nasdaq. But all these people losing their 401ks and IRAs and things of that nature, right? That's because they're not investing in the proper thing. The only investment that is going to be profitable in these times to come is investing in Yahweh Shai, man, right? So we're putting all our chips in the table of prophecy and investing everything we can, right? Like the scriptures talk about the man that found that precious pearl, right? And bought the land. This is exactly what we're doing right now. We found this wisdom. We've been given the access to this wisdom, and we're purchasing it with everything we have, man.
Because if I can add in there, we see the direction, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, how the world, is going specifically here in Babylon the Great. So, like you were saying, we're banking on prophecy, all right, and investing in Yahweh Shai because we understand, number one, that the Lord is behind everything that's going on. So if we continue to trust in his word, we have nothing to fear because as you mentioned, these tariffs and everything that's, beginning to come into effect, all right, it's messing up everything, man. All right. And the people are in a complete uproar because they don't know what they're gonna do. All right. But this is why, like you taught the lesson, investing in your Yahweh Shah because you putting them spiritual treasures in heaven is what's going to be able to sustain you on that day. And I got a quick precept because at the end of the day, if you are in the spirit of the Lord, all right, you should have, no, ties to this place, ultimately. All right, yeah, we still got to be in the world and handle business or whatnot, but you should be rejoicing seeing these things taking place, man. This is Hebrews chapter 13 and 14. It says, "For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come." So this is why we don't care, all right, ultimately, that this place is about to go belly up, man. We want it to come, man, because this is according to prophecy that things must happen. All right, like it says in the book of Second Ezra, the fourth chapter. All right, the evils, in order for them to come, things must be turned upside down. The Lord has, held back the destruction long enough to now we're starting to see these things take place, and the elect is rejoicing because we understand that in order for us to get the kingdom of heaven, this place must go down first, man.
God, hey, we bring it out often. You read Revelation 18 and it's speaking on the downfall of this place. But as soon as you start into the 19th chapter, it opens up with the elect giving praise to the Lord, man. Right?
Yep.
Being in a state of rejoicing. Right? So this is the mind we're already thinking of that portion of the story already, man. We're in the state of rejoicing as we're watching this thing collapse, man. Even though we're gonna be in the midst of it, right? The Lord said he was gonna save us out of these things. So we're not gonna befall the same pitfalls as Jake out here, as part of the 2/3 of the rest of these heathen out here. So we're in a joyful spirit, as as much as your flesh might be in a state of anxiety, right? You have to be in a joyful spirit, seeing what's taking place, man. Right, understanding that this we're one step closer to getting up out of here, man.
God, one more for you. Proverbs chapter 14 and 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his goings. And this is why at the end of the day, we're not fooled by what's being said in the news. All right. Here it is, you having, Trump and his team, all right, pleading with the people, just to, bear, sit tight, bear with it, don't freak out because of these tariffs, man. That there's only going to be, a transition. Things are going to get better, but we understand that they're not going to get better, man. So as it says, a prudent man looketh well to his going. So this is why, hey, we're detaching ourselves more and more from this place, and leaning more on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because as we see prices about to rise, all right, the spirit on the people is about to become even more uneasy, to where and you're gonna see people start crashing out, man. You know, you're gonna see, a lot of unemployment. That scripture where it talks about the love of many wax and cold. This is gonna help bring in the scripture even more, because with what Trump is doing, he's literally tearing America apart, and the people are starting to realize that. So, as what we're doing by advocating for our people to trust in the Lord and not not care so much about the worldly possessions of this world, that's what, like you said, gives us that peace of mind, understanding that, yeah, we're going to be in the midst of all that, but like Isaiah 65 tells you, his servants are going to eat, his servants are going to drink, while the rest of the world is anguish, in anguish of spirit. We're going to be rejoicing, man, because this is what we have been preparing for this whole time since us being awoken to this truth, man.
That's it. Real quick, this is Second Ezra chapter 7 and verse 15. Now therefore, why disquietest thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? Could you get that word disquiet? Oh,
Yep.
sure. It says, and why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? So going back to the weakness of this flesh, right? To say, why are you disquieted? Why are you, why are you being moved emotionally, by these things, right? You're incorruptible flesh at the end of the day, right? Verse 16, it says, why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come rather than that which is present, right? So, you know, the point being that we're focused on what's to come. We're looking ahead, right? So far ahead, right? That people think we're crazy, man. You know, but it's a quote that says they call you crazy when you're right too soon, right?
Yeah, right.
So this is the state that we find ourselves in, right? Where we're getting comforted, like why are we not, or why are we not focused on what's to come? What we understand is being brought to us, right? The victory has already been sealed, right? We just have to finish out the race, right? So we stay the course, right? Instead of focusing on what's directly in front of us, man. Right? Because we
Uh,
know the Lord has already mapped the path out for the elect to endure, these coming afflictions.
mhm. So when you go into this word disquiet from the Edamon online, it says to deprive of peace, rest, or tranquility. It says a one one of quiet rest or peace.
And what
Yeah.
scripture say? Be still and know. Right? Be still and know. That's the whole point of this. Is to be at ease because you know where your power comes from. Going back to the lesson, right? We we put all our trust in how about Shemi Shine, man. Right? We understand what prophecy entails, right? And we're putting our best foot forward, right, to the coming of Yahweh Shai, man.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on, it says to trouble the heart or disturb a person.
Man, hey, we're not troubled, right? We're at ease. Brothers. Our situations might find being a level of turmoil from time to time, right? But the Spirit gives us that peace of mind to know that we're not suffering for nothing, man. Right? We're not going through these things that the Scriptures say. The wicked suffer the. Actually, let me see if I can find it. 'Cause I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
butcher. Uh, uh, If you had anything, please, you can go ahead.
Yeah, because just going into that comfort the Lord gave us to where we're not going to be, in fear. This is Isaiah 41:13. For I, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, thy power, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee. Fear not thy worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Okay, so the Lord is going to sustain his elect throughout this troubling time that we're coming into. So we have really nothing to really fear now in the flesh. Yeah, we're going to feel that fear, but this is where your spirit is supposed to overtake the flesh, to where you're not going to do nothing irrational and eventually fuck yourself up. So the Lord is just telling us, look, trust in Him. He got us. And that's been the sentiment throughout the whole scriptures. Because when you look up that word "fear not" in the scriptures in the blue letter, it tells you that's written 144 times, man. So that's showing you that, look, the elect is going to be fine, man. So we just got to continue on what we've been doing and just have faith that the Lord's going to take care of us, man.
That's it. Hey, like you said, these people are about to lose it out here, man. We already see it in a small way, right? In the manner of the protests that's taking place, the people losing their jobs, right? The the different, you know, the diseases and things of that nature that people are being
Mhm.
plagued with now, as a result of taking that juice, right? All these things, the economic turmoil is going to continue to intensify, right? Once the throes of World War, right, begin, that draft is going to poke its head out, right? And we're still the MOTB has to be implemented, so we're about to see people who put their entire faith and trust in this system fail and lose, right? While the men and the rest of the believers who followed after the Lord, put their trust in the Lord, right, are going to start to win, man. And it's going to be evident who's winning in this time, right?
Yeah.
This is 2 Ezra 7:18. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. So this is where we hope to reach that wide, man. We want to go through this straight gate and into that clearing, right, of hope, or of that beautiful, salvation, man. You know.
Mhm.
But we can grab that Proverbs.
God. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and 25. It says, The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe.
Right.
Mm.
So going back to the lesson, man, these people are moving in the fear of man, right? They fear what's to come, right, as a result of man's decisions, right? So now you're going to start to see their faith be shaken because they put their confidence in something that could not hold water, right? But like it says here, the he that put his trust in the Lord shall be safe, right? That's from all things, man. Right? The Lord is going to protect his elect, right? We're going to be kept in that hour of temptation.
Mhm.
The scriptures talk about how he's going to keep his chosen, right? That keep goes into that guard, right? He's going to guard us using those angels, man. But it's a two-way street because we have to put forth that effort now to be deserving of that protection in these times to come, man.
Right. And then also too, continually staying in these scriptures as well, because if you're not, fully, tapped in and connected to the spirit, all right, that, one, it can cause you to, make a what you would look at as a small mistake, which could eventually lead to your destruction, man. All right, for you and your household. So this is why at the end of the day, we have to truly trust in the plan the Lord has set. Because like you mentioned earlier, the Lord has made provisions for every member of the elect in their household, man. All right. So we can't allow the fear of the what ifs to, make you do something drastic, man. Sirach, the second chapter, it tells you to make not haste, you know, rough paraphrasing, when you're catching your hell, man. All right. You gotta just lean onto the Lord even more. And this is what, we're gonna do in that time, because as much as we prophesy, about these things, people get the misconception that we think that we're not going to be in, this trouble too. All right. We're not pushing no rapture doctrine to where, as all this hell's coming out, that we're just going to magically be up in the sky and not having to go through the hell too. No, we're going to be in this shit too, man. But at the end of the day, what separates us from the rest of you people out here is that we have a connection with our power. So with that being known, anytime that we're facing any type of hardship, this is what we pray to the Lord for, man. You know, real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 18 and 10. It says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and is safe." Okay, and this is why ultimately at the end of the day we have a safe haven we can run to. Because here it is, you people out here, you trust in your money. All right, you got these people, these dummies, still trusting in the government. You think that Donald Trump is gonna, he's gonna fix things. All right, you got people trusting in Babylon. Everything but the Lord, man. So as these things continue to fail, all right, and matters get worse and worse, man, this is what's going to cause these people's faith to bottom out. All right, they're going to crash out in that time, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
And that's that untempered mortar,
Yep.
right? Ezekiel 13th chapter, right? Is not only are false prophets, right, those who are building with untempered mortar, these people in the world are building with untempered mortar, And as you read that chapter, it tells you as the winds and the storm began to beat upon that house, it began to crumble, man. And it destroyed those who trusted in it. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're starting to see the beginnings of.
Right, because here it is. The Lord gave us the game plan. Prophecy is like it says in Sirach, the 39th chapter, man. Matter of fact, can we get that real quick, Baba Shaw?
Okay.
This is what you should be banking on, man, because this is the blueprint, the guideline, the outline for everything we need to know on what's going on and what to do. So this should be the main focal point of everything that's being talked about right now, man. You know.
That's it. It's Sirach 39:1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be
Right.
occupied in prophecy.
So it says, "He that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High." Now, when you go into that, technically, precept the precepts mean law. So your mind should be occupied in these scriptures, like it says, man. To read the Bible, you have to read precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So if your mind is completely in these scriptures, okay, you're going to be tapped into the spirits. You're going to know how to move in this time, man. All right. As you see a lot of Jake out here beginning to bug out. All right. They're renouncing their faith of being a Hebrew Israelite. All right. Some are claiming to be in the faith, but they're not prophesying. They're worried about worldly matters or whatnot. You ain't hearing other camps talk about these tariffs and what's how this is about to affect America, man. All these niggas is telling you is just it's an Israelite party, all right. You getting married and all this other BS, but they're not helping you get ready for these turbulent times that we're about to face, man. So this is why it's important for you to stay occupied in the scriptures, man. Because like it says in Revelation 1 and 3, blessed is he that readeth. You know, to read. It said readeth means to understand or know accurately, man. So you have to know exactly what you're involved in, man. You got it.
That's it. Um, so like I have.
Yeah, precept.
I'll keep looking for it. We can go. Let me see. 'Cause I did want to get this definition real quick.
You got it.
This off of the free dictionary. It says to bank on. It says to rely on the future occurrence. It says to be so sure of something that one can trust it as one might trust a bank with one's money, right?
Woo! Hey, precept for that. That's heavy. This is Proverbs 30 and 5. Every word of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. That's for you.
God, yes, this is where our trust lies, man. Right, where we see the effect of these people trusting in their money, so to speak, within this system. Right, our money, our time, our resources, the things that we value, are all going toward the how about Shemi Howard shot, man.
Right.
Right, this is where our investment is going. This is what we're banking on. Right, this is what we're trusting in to happen against all odds. Right, we want these things to happen regardless of what people think, right? The scriptures say, whether or not they believe, whether or not they hear or they forbear, right? This is where we trust it is going to happen, right? And we're seeing prophecy take place, right? So now we're starting to see the tides are swaying,
Mm-hmm.
where people who didn't believe these things could come to pass are seeing what the the men starting with our elder apostles on down were speaking on, right? You're watching these prophecies start to play out, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One more for you. This is because like you said, the word. Can you read that definition of Beckett again?
Time. It says to be so sure of something that one can trust it as one might trust a bank with one's money.
Psalms 118:8. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man.
Mm-hmm. God. Look, man, we're seeing the effect of putting confidence in man, right? Even in our personal lives, right? Before
Right.
coming into this thing, you put your confidence in these people out here. It fails you every time, man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't fail you in the immediate, down the line, failure will ensue. But you can't fail with Yahawashi, man. Whatever you give to Yahawashi, you're gonna reap, that much more, man. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is why we trust it, like brothers may mention, it's that penny stock, right, that
Yeah,
you
right.
invest in. Right? And the value is gonna skyrocket, it's going up day by day. The more prophecy unfolds, the higher the value of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding begins to grow, man.
Mm-hmm. And that's why at the end of the day, as it said, it's better to put trust in the Lord because the scriptures say the Lord's words are faithful and true. So everything that He told us was going to happen has happened. So
Mm-hmm.
how much more the things that He's telling us that He's about to do for the elect? All right, we go into the bad side of prophecy, but how much more the good side dealing with the miracles, the blessings, all right, the salvation. We know that's coming as well, man. So here it is. Esau was promising you all these empty promises, and look what he has done. Hey, Trump did a complete heel turn since coming into office, man. All
Exactly.
right, this nigga is completely going left. All right, he's doing the complete bidding of the elites. Because if you're paying attention to how he's pretty much dismantling America, all right, he's starting from the top, from these top positions, getting rid of all these people in the government, these government positions, cleaning out the cabinets or whatnot, and he's fucking America up, and this is why at the end of the day, like you look at what the terrorist thing he's doing, he's doing things without the approval of the Senate. Like the shit he just did with China,
Right.
that wasn't something that technically a president allowed to do off of his own merit because really when you go into it, president really don't got no power. He's really just like a do boy, all right, that's just delivering. He's a figurehead. He's delivering what the people at the true top, all right, want him to do. So what we're seeing right now is the people that's on top, which is the elites, they're having him do what their real goal is, which is to destroy America's infrastructure because they're done with this place, man. As you heard, I think of the it was it's an old video dealing with the Amalekite Abel Finkelstein, the dude that was talking about how they put the human meat in the McDonald's and all that. He had said, in that video, how pretty much the small hats have been done with America for a while. This is why they allowed the degeneracy and all that to pretty much take place because that was all part of the plan to subvert the minds of the people to make them easier to manipulate. And now that job has been done, this is why we see now, everything going like it is, like with the whole Doge thing. That was pretty much like I don't want to say a farce, but like for example, because I'm trying to get my words together. When they discovered where all this money was going, dealing with that alphabet shit, they said that was a waste of money, but that really wasn't a waste because Esau wanted that to happen. They wanted that subversion to happen to these nations and all that. So now that has been completed, now it's on to the next goal. All right, which is to bring in this new world order. So all these things are puzzle pieces for the elite's plan to come into place, which is why, like we said, it's better to have confidence in the Lord because we already knew that they was going to do this.
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
But you putting trust in your man, and man, look how many times these devils have let you down. Look how many times your own people have let you, because your people, these Jakes in these positions of power, they're controlling opposition. They're sellouts, man. You know, they're not here to help you. Only one that's truly here for your benefit are the prophets of the Lord, man.
That's it. That's it. You can get that Isaiah 30. Oh, sure.
I got you.
Because, like you said, man, these people, Trump, the heel turn of the century, man. Right? He was America's golden boy, right? And then immediately went into the globalist rampage. As soon as he got into the office, man. Right?
And
He
he has
probably he doesn't he hasn't even addressed the people in mass. Right?
nope.
He doesn't even have the decency to make a statement about what's taking place and the tariffs and things of that nature. He's worried about winning his little golf charity tournament and whatnot.
He just said it today. That's why I saw it when I was at work. He was like, just be patient. It's a rocky road ahead, but we're gonna make it through. You know how he talk.
Right.
The actor talk. We're not anybody hearing that. Like, think all these protests are happening, man. Because people see, Trump, he's about to tear the government apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's
But,
it.
this is Isaiah chapter 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
Right. So speaking to you Israelites, man. Right. These Edomites, these other heathen out here, they were going to trust in this place to its destruction, regardless, man. Right.
Right.
But you have been given the offer of a lifetime, right, to take part of the hedge of Yahawashi Yahawashi, to trust in the spirit of Yahawashi Yahawashi, to going back to that investment, man. Right.
Right.
If you could get that in, I think it's in the Edom Online where it talks about it being a covering, right? Because people invest in stocks and bonds, right, as a covering, as like a nest egg, and things of that nature, right? These 401ks, these IRAs, right, and so forth, right? But like I said, these people cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, because Jake is comfortable, right, partaking in this society. They don't want to separate from this society, right? So now they're in the position where they've refused their covering, man, and they've trusted in a covering that is not going to profit them, man.
You said look up what word?
Invest or investment, I think.
Yes.
Let me see. Make sure I got that ready because it should.
We try investment.
Oh yeah, invest in on Adam Online. Yeah.
Okay, Con. Invest. It says to clothe
Mm-hmm.
in the official robes of an office. To clothe in, cover, surround. The use of money to produce profit is attested from 1610 in connection with the East.
I think that was it. Yeah.
First part.
Yeah. Just to clothe, right? That covering, right? We're putting back on our glorious garments, right? Jake wants to live in the Babylonian attire, right? Well, we're putting on the the attire of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Right?
Right.
This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? This faith. It says to clothe in, to cover, to surround, right? Which going back to being kept, to being protected. This is your only protection in these times to come, right? Esau can't protect you from a goddamn thing, right? He can't even
Right.
protect his own self, right?
Right.
So how
Right.
much more are you, right? So now we're starting to see the results of people, seeking protection from a man who can't protect them, man.
Con, if I could add another word, this is cover in the Edamon line. It says to protect or defend from harm, to cover, protect, conceal, disassemble. Uh, yeah, the main point, as it says, to protect or defend from harm. And if you don't got the armor of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you ain't got no true covering, man. This is why you Jakes in these different philosophies and religions. All right, you Jakes that took covering from Esau, and you're gonna see that false covering was gonna be your undoing because you don't have a true backing. Like I did a lesson yesterday. Here it is. Jake is so nonchalant concerning the Bible to where you don't understand that that's your true covering. You know, in one of the videos I showed, niggas can't even name 5 books in the Bible. So here it is. You think your money's gonna save you? You think your guns gonna save you? You think you a fool if you think Esau gonna save you? You know, so all these false coverings that our people have took over Yahweh Shem Shah, that's gonna be to your undoing because here it is. You despise Yahweh Shem Shah's covering because it requires you to conduct yourself in a certain standard. But this is why they chose Babylon. All right, they'd rather stay in the matrix. All right, a lot of these niggas act like if they're not already unplugged, so to say, they act like Cypher from the Matrix. But if not, those are the people that's still in the Matrix, man. That will fight you, all right, so that they cannot be unplugged. Like when you watch They Live, man. Hey, Roddy Piper had to fucking fight the black nigga to goddamn put the glasses on, man. And that's the people of this world, man. They don't want the true covering of Yahweh by Shem Shah because that means then they can't indulge in their sins no more, man. You know,
Mhm.
Jake still want to smoke the blunt. Jake still want to commit adultery. Jake still want to worship idols and do witchcraft and whatever else that they're into. They don't really want to submit themselves under a righteous power, man. Okay, and that's going to be to your detriment.
Exactly.
Continuing on, Isaiah 30:2, it says that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Right. So Jay thinks the strength of America is their strength, man. Right.
Nope.
They're assuming that America's successes will trickle down to them. That's why you see people, right? You should find it suspicious that all you niggas out there get all this access to money, right? As you see the dollar about to collapse, man. Right.
Right, right.
Right. So you
Hey, the
think that
elder
you're
said
gonna
that. The elder said that you really think Esau would allow Jake to find an avenue to become millionaires if they didn't give a fuck about money no more, man?
exactly. Exactly. They talk about giving all this money away and all type of shit, man. It's like, come on, right? But that's them trusting in the. They think that this place is gonna build itself back up, man. Right? Right. Jake, has fully sold themselves the dream or the American dream. They're fully enchanted, right, by what Esau has pushed to them, man.
All right. Continuing on, verse 3. Uh, Matter of fact, I got a quick one since we said. Well, I'll hold that to after. So, Salaki.
Yeah.
Verse 3. Therefore, shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
Yep. And this is what we're seeing take place, right, as we speak, right? Blacks for Trump are in a state of confusion, in a state of shame,
Right, right, right.
right? All these people who trusted in this man, right, to be the savior of America are now feeling the pain just like everybody else was, man, right? They, everybody's damn near saying they should have voted for Kamala, goofy ass. And now we're seeing, right, they're all in a state of confusion and a state of shame, right? That turmoil, in which Babylon the Great, the land of confusion, right? So this is what this place was a Norman omen of, man, because now the leaders, right, are clearly moving contrary to the goodwill of the people, man. You know,
Right, and then the tricky part about it was even if you niggas voted for Kamala, guess what? It'd have been the same situation. It probably would have been quicker though, because as nasty as America has become under the Biden administration, which is really the Obama administration that added. You think her airheaded ass would have really did anything, man? Anything different than what we seeing?
exactly,
So either way, you were fucked. So this is why number one, you Jake shouldn't even be involved in the politics at this point anyway, man. It's not called politics for nothing. All right,
exactly,
all these damn politicians are nothing more than actors, puppets. At the end of the day, man, they don't really control nothing. They are paid to do the bidding of the elites. All right, that's why when you saw Trump go over to the land of Israel, all right, to discuss matters with not a Jew, what happened? He had that little hat on.
yep,
Went to the wall, bowed his head on the wall of Herod because they know who the true masters are, man. All right, it's only you idiots out here that don't know that these small hats are the ones that's really running shit, man. All right, like y'all always bring out. Why you think all these politicians have a APAC sponsor? You know, telling them what to say, what to do, because the small hats are the ones in control, man.
That's it. From top to bottom, man. Every facet of society, they they're puppeteering from behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah. It's a Goldstein or Goldberg, Weinstein,
Right, right,
whatever small hat name that you can think of. That's all they dirty little princes all over that shit, man. And this is why at the end of the day, if you Jakes still want to trust in this place, it's gonna be to your confusion because once the Lord fully begins breaking this bitch down, because we haven't really seen that yet, man. Like
hmm
these terrorists are gonna take a little minute to actually fully hit. So when they fully hit, like I was listening to Capo Tazwan earlier, and they made a good point. It's like, look, when it comes to these tariffs, only thing Jay can tell you is, man, eggs are expensive. They don't know the byproduct of everything else like they was going into, man. Because like they were saying, hey, you look at they was projecting like for example the iPhone. The iPhone is like a $1,000 something like that now. And when this shit hit, it said the iPhone gonna be up to like $3,000-$4,000. So come on, man.
God damn.
Niggas ain't gonna be spending money like they are now. Hey, here it is. You want the iPhone 16? You want the cool grade Jordans that's about to drop? Niggas still trying to go on vacation, buy a house. All that shit's dead, man.
Yep.
You know, hey, your focus is gonna figure out how to pay these down. These bills, man. Because
Right.
as you've been saying, hey, shit is going up, man. I got my fucking my insurance, my car insurance premium.
hmm
Man, that shit went up almost $75, man. You know, the electric bill going up, water bill going up. So you can only imagine when rent and everything. So yo, this shit about to get ill out here, man.
Exactly. Look, when they talk about these foreign cars, all these imports,
Yeah,
the parts are about to start going up. You're gonna probably be spending $300 on an oil change, right? It's gonna like people, like you said, people. The full magnitude of it hasn't struck yet, right? And when it does, you're gonna be seeing more of the protests out here, man. Because these people in their heart of hearts know these protests don't amount to nothing, right?
hell nah, hell nah. Niggas gonna get active in that day, man. Yeah,
hmm
you thought the little smash and grabs was bad then? Shit, wait, just wait.
Exactly, exactly. I'm gonna read this here in the good news,
Mhm.
uh, Isaiah 30 and verse 1. The Lord has spoken. Those who rule Judah are doomed because they rebel against me. They follow plans that I did not make and sign treaties against my will, piling one sin on another.
Mm.
They go to Egypt for help without asking for my advice. They want Egypt to protect them, so they put their trust in Egypt's king. And this is exactly what we're seeing take place, man. Right? The leaders of our people, right, are signing off on these things, man. Are incentivizing Jake to go after these ways. You know, it says, verse 3, but the king will be powerless to help them, and Egypt's protection will end in disaster. Right, and this is what we're seeing take that's gonna make itself manifest, man. Right,
Mhm.
the so-called help of Egypt is gonna lead to disaster, man. you know.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, the elect are going to be taken care of in that day, man. Why? Because we put our trust in the true King, right? We put our trust in the actual power, right? The power that has influence over all these things, man, right? Because we know He controls what Esau does, right? Yahawashi is the orchestrator of this whole thing. So why would He not guide His elect through a way that would keep them out of trouble, man? Keep them out of harm.
Yeah, because hey, the way that this nigga is about to bottleneck everybody, man.
Mm-hmm.
As we continually say, this is all done to pretty much make you submit to take that RFID chip, man. That's the end goal of all this because he's gonna make shit get so bad out here that where people are gonna be begging for a new system to regulate things to where they can go back to some type of level of comfort. And you
Exactly.
already know once Esau presents that chip, it's gonna come with incentive that's gonna get the majority of the people to start wanting to, go ahead and get that shit, man. You know. So at the end of the day, this it's better to lean on the Lord. All right.
Mhm.
Like the scripture says, fear not him that has power to kill the body, but fear him that has power to cast both soul and body into hell, roughly paraphrasing.
Okay.
Because, like you said, the Lord is the architect of all this, man. He's the one that's truly behind all this. So, if he's behind the evils, you don't think he has the power to take care of his men? Job, the fifth chapter, lets us know that, man. The Lord said he's going to preserve us, in seven troubles. All right, complete protection, roughly paraphrasing. So let that be your comfort instead of trying to figure out how am I going to pay my bills, how am I going to get groceries, how I'm going to feed my children. Let the Lord handle it, man.
Exactly.
Hey, worry about what you can handle and let the Lord hold everything else, man.
Handle the rest. Exactly. That's.
Right,
But we got a precursor to that with the whole C-19 situation, man.
exactly.
Right? Your faith gets tried, right? The Lord wants you to trust. And look, regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in, you know that He's going to deliver you, in that latter day, man.
Yep.
Right? Like the scriptures tell us, we have an expected end. We know what's coming, man. Right? You just have to believe, right, and trust the process.
I get that for you since you quoted it.
Uh,
This is Jeremiah chapter 29 and 11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, save the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to
mhm.
give you an expected end.
Right? Thoughts of peace and not of evil, man. Right? Yeah, scriptures talk about how that correction is grievous or may seem grievous, right? But roughly paraphrasing, it gives you a more peaceable work.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord is not looking to just utterly destroy us, man. Right? The elect in particular are being just put through that fire to be purified, man. Right? To bring that peace to you. The Lord wants us to come, serve, go through whatever tests and trials that He has set for us, and then that expected end, that deliverance, that salvation, right, will come as a result, man. You know.
Uh,
Let's see here.
I have one more.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, as we're going into, the right, the right place to put your trust in. All right, here it is. Because as put it, banking on prophecy and investing in Yahawashi. All right, the investing should be on what's going to sustain you. All right. And as we know, this place Babylon isn't going to sustain you because as we've been talking about this whole time, all right, the bait and switch is being shown now. And
Okay.
it's only going to continue to get worse and worse for you people out here, man. All right.
So,
So this is Isaiah 36 and 6. Lo, thou trusteth in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. So and these devils, all right, are just waiting with that sword to stab you in your back, man. All right, as you seen, you made mention earlier, all right, these idiots that voted for Trump. Just let's deal with the Northern Kingdom real quick. Oh, you had the Mexicans for Trump and all these. Look what happened. The same niggas that voted them in, the same niggas that got deported. You
exactly.
know, and it's to the point now to where I heard a story that said that uh, ICE grabbed up a legal citizen and sent him, to what was it? What
Venezuela.
the yeah? So he was innocent. And Trump was like, I'm not worried about getting him out. I got other shit to worry about. So that nigga stuck over there for no reason. But this is what you niggas get though, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Hey, if he's doing that now, imagine what he's just going to be doing to people when things really start to crack off out here, man.
Come on now.
Right? He just snatched up some random random Jake and sent him off to Venezuela. You be out here at one of these protests, right? White
Mm-hmm.
van pull up, pull you in there. You wake
Mm-hmm.
up in Guantanamo Bay somewhere, and right. But that's the things that they're gonna start doing out here, man. Because yeah, as lawlessness ensues, they're gonna have more free reign to
Mm-hmm.
exercise these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Could you get Psalm 4 and we'll read 5 through 8.
All right. This is Psalms chapter 4 and 5. It says, "Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord."
Right. Put your trust in the Lord, man. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness. What's that, man? Like you may have mentioned, seeking the Lord, right, while you have time, man. Right, in your youth, like the scriptures talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to giving your reasonable service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be teaching, whether it be prophesying, whether it be alms, whatever it is the Lord has called you to do, you got to do that, man, right? Because that's your service, like it said, that proves that you trust in Yahawashi Yahawashi, man,
Kind of, if
right?
I can add in there real quick, the,
Mm-hmm.
the the true sacrifice is the obedience.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
Samuel told Saul, man, obedience is better than sacrifice, man. So the main thing you could do is just follow what the Lord told us, and it said put your trust in Him. So if you're obeying the Lord, all right, then that you putting your trust in Him, that speaks for itself. You're gonna be all right, man.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Continuing on, verse 6. There be many that say, "Who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us."
Right. So this is we're seeking to have that light shined upon us, man. Right? And in the darkness, we're already in the land of darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as that darkness continues to get, darker, you're gonna want that light of Yahweh Shai shining upon you, man. And if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't done anything in this time to engender, right, that that light, you haven't invested in to be this what's the word, deserving, right, of that light to be shined upon you, you're gonna be left in utter darkness, man.
Yeah. It says, "Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased."
Right. So in the time of increase, right, while we see, some of our people in the state of excess and thriving and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
They received their consolation, right? They got their prize already. You right? But like I said, thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and wine increased. So this is the greatest gladness that you can receive, man. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because that should we continue on. You're right. We're gonna be delivered out of these great tribulations, man.
Yeah, because adding to that as well, because what we're sowing is to the spirit. All
Right.
right, so we're going to reap those spiritual blessings in the time of destruction, famine, and great tribulation. But the people that put their trust in the carnal, not only are they going to lose their carnal possessions, but then they're also going to lose their life because they didn't apply the proper sacrifice. It's like with Cain and Abel,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be reversed this time, man. Okay, because Cain knew the proper sacrifice that he was supposed to give. Okay, this nigga offered up fruit, knowing that he's supposed to do an animal sacrifice. Essentially, that's what is happening in today's time, to where a lot of these idiots, all right, are offering up a ill sacrifice to the Lord, thinking that they're going to be accepted, not realizing that the Lord's going to not only reject it but also punish you with death, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, read it again. "Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and wine increase," because we know at the end of the day, we're sowing correctly. Okay, so we're gonna reap in that day, man. Lord willing, we continue, on the right path.
God, I appreciate it for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 Corinthians 9:6. But this I say: He which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly,
Mm-hmm.
and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're putting the work in so that we could earn. So like you said, we want to be deserving of the Lord's protection in that time. And what you're going to find out is a lot of Jake think that they deserve that protection, but they haven't done the necessary things for the Lord to even consider that, man. All right, they ain't even calling on His name. All right,
Man,
they're not following the correct doctrine. They're still concerned with the cares of this world. And the scripture tells you in Romans the 8th chapter that carnality, if if you're in a carnal mind and you're at enmity with the Most High, you're at odds with the Lord. So when that sacrifice is presented, because hey, all of us are offering up a sacrifice. We just pray that our sacrifice is accepted in the Lord's eyes. We pray that He's going to accept ours, man. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Finishing out verse 8, it says, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only maketh me dwell in safety.
Right. This is where our comfort is, man. This is where our peace is. This is where our safety is. Right. We know all these things already. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's upon us to continue in it, man. Right,
Mm-hmm.
and to build upon that. Right. Everybody to their measure. Right. But this is we know where to go. Right.
Yep.
We know what to spend our time doing. We know what's going to be profitable at the end of the day.
Yep.
So we're investing, right? We're banking on, we're putting everything, all chips on the table, right?
Yep.
Of Yahawashi, man. You know?
Yeah, we know that doing that, we're not going to lose. This
Mm-hmm.
is why, hey, this is like a righteous gamble, because you could say pretty much investing is like a form of gambling, man. But we know the ROI that we're going to receive in the spirit is gonna it's gonna greatly outweigh anything that we could get in this world, man.
Exactly.
All right, so this is why, like that's a beautiful title, man. Investing in Yahweh Shai, because we know that that's an investment that we're gonna win.
That's it. Real quick, this is Psalm 2 and 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Right?
Woo. Heavy.
You show reverence to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? While his anger is kindled but a little, man. All judgment
Mhm.
was given unto the Son, right? So when this judgment starts to kick off out here, best believe is Yahweh Shai behind it all, man. And if you haven't shown that reverence, right, you haven't, done the prerequisites, to be receiving of that mercy, right, you're gonna, like I said, you shall perish from the way, you know?
Yep.
And saying perish from the way makes it sound like it's a light thing, but but that's a great death that's gonna take place, of the masses of people, man, right? Because they were presented Yahweh Shai and they forsook it, man, right? But they that put their trust in Him, right, will be blessed, right, abundantly, like we read, man. You're gonna be reaping bountifully beyond measure, man.
Mhm. I want to get this off the comment board from by now.
Con.
Uh,
Shalom.
Amos, Shalom, Amos 5:4. For thus saith the Lord unto the house of Israel, seek ye me, and ye shall live.
Mhm.
And that's plain and simple. You want to make it through these times, man. You want to be, you want your house to be taken care of, man. Seek the Lord. Like you read in Psalms 2, man. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry. That word kiss means to submit. Submit yourself under the ordinances of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, and watch how he takes care of you. We're all living testaments of that, man. When we gave our lives over to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, the Lord took care of us and still taking care of us, man. So how much more as these things, these plagues begin to touch home, man. Okay. Hey, we're gonna see pure hell out here, but the Lord's he's gonna keep us through it all, man. You know.
Con. Beautiful. We can get Psalm 91. We'll read 1 through 4, and then that's all I got. If you got anything else.
Kind. Psalms chapter 91:1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Right. So, we trust in the shadow of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? These people
Mm-hmm.
trust in the shadow of Egypt. We trust in the shadow of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, back in the ancient Egypt, right? We trusted in Yahweh Shai then, right? Well, you see what happened to the Egyptians, man, right?
Yep.
And these people out here are equivalent to those Egyptians, right? Left in the darkness, left in the plagues, right? Ultimately, falling victim to that first Passover. This is what the trust in the Lord is going to entail, is that covering from the great death that's about to take place.
That's right. Verse 2. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In Him will I trust.
Right. This is the only place that you can run to, man. Right. And going back to the name, like you may mention, priest. Right.
Yeah,
The name of the Lord is a strong tower. Right. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Right. We're running to that name. Right. Not Jesus. Not
mhm.
Yeshua. Not Yahoshua. Whatever the fuck these niggas be talking about out here, man.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, Yah. All that shit, ultimately, they're going to be calling on Yah catching missiles out here, man. They're going to be calling on Yah and starving to death, right? Getting
yeah,
getting their teeth kicked in by Esau, right? Calling on Yeshua, right?
yeah.
Because that name is that fortress. It's that impenetrable building, right? The temple, right?
Hey, and here's the kicker with that. You gonna have niggas trying to call on you how about Shemal Shai that day and still get put to death because
Man,
you niggas been playing with the name. Y'all
yep,
don't believe in it for real, and ultimately you're not of the elect. So you can call on whoever you want, but if you're not of the elect, then ultimately the Lord's still gonna kill your ass, man.
right.
This is why this truth is so imperative that we go about it the right way. Okay.
That's it.
Verse 4 or verse 3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Right. All these traps that are out here, right? That's that foul or that noisome pestilence being the nuclear destruction ultimately, right?
Yep.
But these traps and snares, the elect are continually being delivered out of these things, man. Right?
Right.
It's no telling what brothers have avoided as a result of serving Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, man. Right? Different
Oh yeah,
things.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
brothers have been shot at,
hmm
guns pulled on us. Hey, dudes that tried to jump us, all type of shit. You know, hey, and this is just the stuff that we know happened.
Right.
So how much more, what we don't know? Motherfuckers that probably try to put no, yeah, people have tried to put hits on the apostles and different
hmm
things like that, man. So yeah, it's all type of shit that the Lord kept us from, man. You
Right.
know, and this is going to continue to be the same thing until we get delivered out of here, man. Because
That's
what
it.
we're seeing with these the famine and all these are snares that Esau is bringing.
That's it.
Why you think he's boxing the people of America in? Because he wants to manufacture the famine. All right, he wants things to get so bad to where civil unrest, takes place, which is going to bring in martial law. You know, but the Lord's going throughout all this preserve His elect, man.
That's it.
Verse 4: He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
Right. This is our protection, man. Right? He's gonna cover us, right? He's the covering. Going back to that investment, man. Right? We put our time and energy to serve the Lord, right?
Mhm.
He's gonna cover us in these times, man.
That's
Right?
right.
He's gonna be that. I think it's in Psalm 27 where it speaks about the house of the Lord, being the. Actually, let me get it. I don't want to butcher it. But he's that covering from the tempest, man. Right? From the storm, that's about to come. Let's see. Psalm 27 and
20.
starting 5.
Uh, it's like I'm in Job.
Okay.
Psalm 27 and 27:5.
Yeah.
This is Psalms
Starting
27.
4 slide. Start 4 slide.
Psalms 27:4. It says, "One thing have I desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life,
hmm
to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in His temple.
hmm
For in the time of trouble He shall hide me in His pavilion, in His secret, in the secret of His tabernacle shall He hide me. He shall set me upon a rock." Mm.
Right. So that pavilion, that place of covering, man. Right. That's what that word pavilion goes into. We're gonna be hid. Right. We're not. They're not gonna have access to the elect, man.
Nope.
Right. Those who have to lay their lives down, for this testimony will do so. Right. But that's a small number. It's not the majority of the elect are gonna be protected and make it through in that day, man. You
Yeah,
know.
and even if he, the ones that are meant to be martyrs,
Hmm.
the Lord just allowed them to get their bodies. Their
Right.
spirit is still
Yes, sir.
protected by Yahawashi Yahushua, because like the scriptures say, none can take the elect out of his hand. All
Exactly.
right. So really, what that death that those martyrs of the elect that's going to take, that's not a victory for Esau.
Hmm.
No, that was a victory for the elect to have to go through that, because that was the ultimate showing of their faith, and the Lord just allowed Esau to bring that test in, but he didn't win. Like when you read about the story of the seven brothers and the mother and Second Maccabees, hey, that wasn't a victory for Antiochus Epiphanes, because throughout the whole time of him doing that, what was happening? It was cursing his ass out, let him know that, look,
Hmm.
hey, though you destroy this body, we're gonna be back, and guess what? We're gonna pretty much do the same to you in due time. Roughly paraphrasing, man.
Exactly. Exactly. We can finish out to 10 on that, and then we can close up.
Con verse 5, verse 6. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord.
Right. And this is what we're doing now, man. We're singing praises unto the Lord, right, for destroying this place, man. Right? Even though it hasn't finished, us seeing it commence is good enough for us to start praising Yahweh about Shem Yahawashi. Because
Yeah,
we know once that snowball gets rolling, it's no stopping prophecy, man.
yeah, because essentially what's happening is just like the three holy children. Hey, we're singing as we're walking into the fire, because the Lord is kindling that fire now. All right, so that
Exactly.
hell that the world is about to face, we're going into this singing praises to the Lord. Like when you read that in the prayer, I believe it's the prayer of Azariah.
Mhm.
Like that whole chapter pretty much is praise you the Lord for, and it's like it's a long chapter, but the majority of the chapter is praise you the Lord for this and that, and so on, man. So that's
Mhm.
essentially what we're doing, like you said, as we are entering into these horrific times, man.
That's it.
Verse 8, it says, verse 7, hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice, have mercy also upon me and answer me.
Right. This is we're seeking that mercy, man. Right.
Mhm,
We need mercy. Point blank. Period, man. Right. And like you can read out 8. It's like
mhm. When thou saidst, seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek.
right. We're seeking the Lord. Right. Going back to the precept the brother brought out in Amos. Right. It's a lot. Right. It says, "Thus saith the Lord unto the house of Israel: Seek me, and ye shall live." Man.
Mm-hmm,
Right. We want to live.
mm-hmm.
These people out here don't want to live, and their
Hell no.
actions, speak for themselves. You know.
Exactly.
So what we're doing, right? It says, "When thou sayest, Seek ye my face, and my heart saith unto thee, Thy face, Lord, will I seek." That's the mindset of the elect. We're seeking the Lord at all costs, right? Giving up what's required to be given up, right? Sacrificing what's required to be sacrificed. Because, like you
Mm-hmm.
may have mentioned at camp last week, I believe it was, priest, right? You either make the sacrifice or the Lord makes that the sacrifice. You know?
Yeah, whatever you're not
Oh
willing
yeah,
to
yeah.
sacrifice will become your sacrifice.
God, exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm,
Because look, man, it's like it's simple, right? The simplicity of Yahweh Shai, right? You seek the Lord, you benefit as a result, right?
right.
But sometimes the simplest things for Jake is the hardest for them to do, man. You know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Verse 9, hide not thy face far from me, put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O power of my salvation.
right? So we know that we don't want the Lord to leave us, man, right? We want to be accounted worthy in these times, right? We need that salvation. We know that He's like I said, the power of our salvation, man. That's the only way out, right? And we're willing to do anything that's required in order to have that, man.
Mm-hmm. It says, when my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up.
Right. So the people that are around you ultimately, right? and not going into everybody that's not of the elect,
Yeah.
because they're gonna go their own way, you
Yeah.
know, and they're not gonna be thinking about you, they're gonna be thinking about their own self, right? And even if they do consider you, they're they're not considering Yahweh Shem Shai, because if they were, they would understand that you're seeking the Lord, right, which is seeking life. But if they're not seeking the Lord, they're not seeking life. So we really can't be associated with these people outside of the time that we have right now, man. Because once these
Yeah.
things start to really get cracking out here, they're gonna pick Egypt, right? While we
Yeah.
pick the Lord, man.
Like the scriptures say, he that look at the saving his life shall lose it, and he that
Hmm.
loses his life for my sake shall find it. Roughly paraphrasing. So, like you said, you gonna have family, friends, whoever. They're gonna abandon you. Some are gonna betray you, all for them trying to figure out how they're gonna make it, all right, how they're gonna be sustained in that time. But we understand that the Lord got us, man.
That's it.
So however that's gonna play itself out, we don't care at the end of the day, man. Hey, we'll see them on the other side, Lord willing. Okay, because at the end of the day, we're like how Abraham was. All right, Abraham forsook his whole family to go serve the Lord. That's the same path that we have chosen. Okay, hey, just like all the disciples of the Lord, they forsook their old lives and went after the Lord. And so it's going to be a time where we're going to have to fully unplug. All right, and whoever's not with us in that time, then that's just going to be what it is, man. They don't have to figure it out, but we haven't figured it out. We know that the Lord got us, man. So whatever way the Lord got us moving, and we're gonna walk out in faith, man.
That's it. Hey, brothers is gonna be walking on water, man. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That go back to the title of the lesson, right? Banking on prophecy and investing in Yahweh Shai, man.
That's
Right?
it.
That's all our trust is in what's taking place at the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and the mercy through the sacrifice of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know,
Hey, all chips are in.
that's it. Okay. But that was it. If you had anything else, please.
Well, I was gonna get that Job 5, but it pretty much said the same thing that we just read, so
Okay,
it's okay.
okay, okay. Hey. So we pray that the lesson was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We want to close by giving our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by the
Yahweh,
Shem, Yahweh
Bashem,
Shai, by the
Yahshua,
Shem,
Bashem,
Chai, Hakodash.
Mahakodash.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.